God's children were slaves in Egypt land, so God took Moses by the hand. Said, Moses, tell old Pharaoh to set him free. But Moses swarmed away to get out, cause in his mind he's beginning to doubt. He says, Lord, old Pharaoh, he ain't gonna listen to me. Now the Lord said, son, throw down that rod. Old Moses did, and he cried to God, cause it turned to a snake of evil and the wickedest sin. Well, he cried again with an awful wail. The Lord said, seize him by the tail. Old Moses did, and it turned to a rod again.
God promised to lead his children out of bondage. He said he'd free them from Pharaoh's evil hand. He said he'd guide and protect them on their journey and lead them to the promised land.
Well, the Lord said, Moses, I've got power, and I'll be with you every hour. Said, go tell Pharaoh to set my children free. Well, Moses did, but the Lord helped out. He sent a plague to the land about, so Pharaoh told him to go and let him be. Well, he started out with a cloud by day and a fire by night to lead the way, and old Pharaoh suddenly decided to change his mind. He gathered together his soldier band, got all them chariots throughout the land. He said, I'll let them Israelites go some other time.
God promised to lead his children out of bondage. He said he'd free them from Pharaoh's evil hand. He said he'd guide and protect them on their journey and lead them to the promised land.
Well, they came to the banks of the old Red Sea. They turned to Moses and started to flee, and Moses fell on his knees and there in the sand. The Lord said to Moses, trust in God. All you got to do is just raise that rod, and over these mighty waters, stretch your hand. Well, Moses followed the Lord's command. The waters parted, and there in the sand they saw a path that led to the other shore. Well, the ground was dry, they passed on through, and old Pharaoh's army thought they would too, but the waters fell, they ain't never been seen no more.
God promised to lead his children